We are right back. You see, I have been talking about people who are very selfish. They can have everything in their life, and yet many of them commit suicide. Why? The more selfish we are, the more we do not deny ourselves, the more unhappy we are. Why? Because the human heart is made for God. Therefore, all the longings of the human heart is infinite, and everything in this world is finite. So the more we empty ourselves of our selfishness, the more God can fill us up. That's the reason why many people have everything in this life. They have money, they have honor, they end up, many of them, committing suicide. Why? It is just to prove that all the things of this world cannot really make us contented and happy. It is only God who can make us truly happy. While if you look at people outside, people inside the convent, for example, you will visit them. They are all very happy, yet they do not have the leisure. They are working so hard. They are doing. Why are they so happy? Because they are dying to their selfishness, making sacrifices, and so God can fill them up. This is the reason why St. John of the Cross is saying, unless you deny yourself, you cannot be close to God. Because he said, there are two contraries that cannot exist together. Your selfishness and the love of God. If you are selfish, the love of God cannot remain with you. But if you love God, selfishness will also go away. That is the sacrifice that our Mother of Fatima is asking her children. To die to yourself in big things and in small things. And precisely, this is also what St. John of the Cross is asking us to do. Why? Because he wanted us to free from our inner conflicts. What is an inner conflict? An inner conflict is something like this. If, for example, in my childhood, I am not given the attention, as I grow older, that is an emptiness. So I will try to attract attention all the time. Then you realize, why am I always trying to attract attention? This is your area of selfishness. Now, when you are not given attention and you feel it, then you say, I am not going to look for attention. I will offer this to God. Little by little, you are a person who will not be looking for attention anymore, because instead of your selfish desire for attention, God will fill you up with His love, and you will become a person who is happy. All of us have conflicts in our lives. For example, when you were a child, you were deprived of the love of your mother. As you grow older, you will be seeking for love from everybody. Now, if you go into contemplative prayer, the prayer that I'm talking about, the prayer that will lead you into deeper levels of consciousness, you will begin to say, why is it that people, if they do not mind me, I really feel it very much? This is your area of selfishness. Now, if you realize that, and people will not mind you, then you will say, I am not looking for attention. I will offer this sacrifice to God. So what will happen? Little by little, you will be healed of that seeking for attention all the time. And what will happen? You are much happier, because it is God who will give you all the attention. Remember, I told you, we are full of selfishness that God cannot enter into our hearts. If we die to our selfishness, then God can enter our hearts. And as I told you, only God can make us happy. No one else can make us happy. Only our Lord can make us happy. Now, this is the discipline of our conflicts. And then we will be free from the pressures of people who do not mind us, people who do not consider our gift, people, because that is all our way of selfishness. And the more you die to your egoistic desires, the more God can really possess your heart. And remember, Saint Augustine said this, our hearts are made for thee, O God, and we will always be restless until we rest in you. How is it that we do not become peaceful? Because we are so full of self. We are always thinking of ourselves. We do not think of others. We do not think of dying to our selfishness. There are many examples that I can give you. But today, train your children, even when they are yet young, because the atmosphere today are very, very selfish. All levels of society, we always want what we like. I, me, myself. We ejected God in our lives, and we put our own egoistic desires. That is why there are plenty of sin. There is plenty of violence. There is plenty of doing many, many sinful things. Why? Because the more you give in to your sinful desires, the greater also your sin. But if you deny yourself for the love of God, you will become a person that is truly happy. Now, without this discipline, it will be very, very difficult to become a person who is truly happy, a person who is really close to God. And even if you have reached a high degree of prayer, you will not stay long there. You will come back. Because Saint Teresa of Jesus said, prayer without discipline is not at all possible. You can go to church, you can go to mass, but if you give in to your desires all the time, you will remain a sinful person. You will remain a proud person because you do not empty yourself of your selfishness. That's why St. John of the Cross said, the active discipline will help us to go through the process of freeing ourselves with the grace of God from our egoistic desire. Now, if we do this together with silent prayer, we will discover our fixation and our compulsions by taking notice of the areas of our vulnerability. I will give you an example. When I was young, when I entered Carmel, you know, there was a very nice sister. Every morning, she is telling me, how are you, my dear sister? She is a nice sister, she is very, very good, but you know, she really irritates me. And so I've been asking myself, what is wrong with me? Because this sister is very good and I cannot see it. It's only I am really good. Then, as I go deeper and start to reflect, then I realize it is because this sister acts like my auntie. My auntie before is always telling me the way I walk is wrong, the way I try to smile is wrong, and this sister is like my auntie. She has nothing to do with me. She's only like my auntie. But I have a bad experience with my auntie that I was not able to resolve. And imagine, I am not nice to this sister and she is not doing anything at all. It's only because in the past I did not like my auntie. It is good to reflect every time you are disturbed. Why am I disturbed? Why is it that this situation, why is it that this person is disturbing me? Because the moment you are conscious of what is it that disturbs you, you are already changing your mind. You are already looking at it in a different way. Then I realized, when I saw that it is only because my auntie whom I do not like resembles this sister. And that's the reason why, no matter how good she is, I don't like her. But she has nothing to do. If I did not go deeper in my past, I will not be able to resolve this problem. And it is a pity because this sister is very good and I cannot relate with her. That is why we need to go deeper into our life. What are the areas of selfishness in my life? In order that I will be able to go closer and closer to God. Because if I remain selfish, even if I pray a lot, I cannot go closer to God. St. John of the Cross said, there are two contraries that can never be together, our selfishness and the love of God. If I grow in my selfishness, the love of God will depart from me. But if I grow in my love of God, my selfishness will also be reduced. How are we going to die to our selfishness? By not doing what I like, by not controlling situation. Because people who are always saying that what I like should really be done. And we are all like that. We are little toddlers. That's the reason why even if we are very pious, even if we are very prayerful, we do not progress in the spiritual life. Why? Because we are truly selfish. In the active discipline, St. John of the Cross is saying, deny to your selfishness in order that Christ will be able to possess your heart. And unless you do that, even if you pray because you like it. You pray the rosary, you fast, and remember in one of the stories in the gospel, when those people who died doing all of these things, fasting and eating, and then they thought they're already very holy. Then they were asking our Lord. Our Lord said, we do not recognize you. Now, we are going to recap. Of the first level, people who are already in the state of grace, but they are still very weak. The second level, people who already accept that they are weak. In the third level, there are people who are very, very good, and yet they are very proud. And now I'm talking to you about how are we becoming humble by disciplining our egoistic desires. Thank you for watching. This is Sister Mary Nieri, OCD, of the Carmelite of Zamboanga. Thank you.